welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today is another one of these wonderful days. I get to sit down with some more of the amazing men of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Today, I have with me some gentlemen from Kappa Delta Sigma Chapter in South Los Angeles. I have with me Brother Woodrow Bailey and Brother Tovin Lewis, and shortly we will hear more about the amazing work that they've got going on in their area. But first and foremost, as I always do, gentlemen, I take a quick moment to pause and say thank you to you both for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once we give it, we can't get it back. So I truly appreciate you making time to sit down and chat with little old me. And welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Well, as I open up always, I like to go around and ask, how long have you been Sigma men and where did you pledge?
Okay, we go by age, so I'm going to let Brother Lewis go first.
Okay, I'm Tovin Lewis. I was initiated through San Diego State University back in the year of 1982.
Okay, all right. So you're just a baby.
If you want to say baby. And 40 years of service, and believe you me, it was all worth it for the things I had done and the people I served. So I'm pleased with what I've done.
Great brotherhood, great brotherhood. And Woodrow Bailey?
Woodrow Bailey. I was initiated in the spring of 1984 at the University of Southern California. So my 40th is coming up in a few weeks. So I am the Western Regional Director of Social Action. We have 7 regions, so I'm one of the 7 regional directors. I'm also a charter member of Sigma PAC 1914, our political PAC. So we have a political PAC in DC. So I'm one of the charter members of that entity as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we're going to play nice, Mr. Bailey, because I am a UCLA alumni. So I'll be nice for this interview, but when we get off, we might go back to our friendly rivalry. And with that being said, I want to have a transparent moment because I was, I know a lot of people in Los Angeles, but I'm humble enough to know that I don't know everybody. So when I was roaming around looking for Sigmas for this show, I stumbled across your chapter, kind of took a quick glance at the homepage of the website and said, oh, I don't know any of these faces, but it wasn't until I was preparing for today's show that I took a deeper dive and read some of the history of your chapter. And I had a very emotional moment because some of the names in your history, I would say, are the foundation for what I do here at the Male Perspective and Black Men Matter. Because when I stepped onto the campus of UCLA, these gentlemen were very solid brothers. They showed me what it looks like for Black men to look out for the Black women in their proximity. I'm talking about names like Kerry Williams, Ron Thornton, Vincent Boyce. So as we get started, I was wondering if I could trouble you to share the history of your chapter, and I'm going to try to keep my composure if I could.
Absolutely.
Could you share the history of your chapter?
Okay, I can do that. The Kappa Delta Sigma chapter was founded in 1988 in West Los Angeles. It had 5 charter members. Kelvin Tolbert, Anthony George, one of the men you just mentioned, Vincent Boyce, Kerry Williams, and Anthony Hale. Those 5 men broke away from the Phi Beta Sigma chapter to form this chapter moving forward. So we've been around since 1988, and chapters have ups and downs moving forward. And when we, got to about the 2000s, we had a renaissance. And some of the other men you just mentioned, especially these 2 men, Kerry Williams and Ron Thornton, came back around the same time I did in 2008. We start building, we start, doing the community thing. These brothers were instrumental in doing what they're doing. It's, sadly, they're in our Omega chapter, those 2 gentlemen. So we revere them in our chapter moving forward. Our chapter, of course, is based in South Los Angeles, and we pretty much have been in South Los Angeles for most of those years because a majority of the brothers live in South Los Angeles, or a lot of our community projects are anchored in South Los Angeles. So, the Kappa Delta Sigma chapter, we work with the other chapters that are in the area. Phi Beta Sigma chapter, the Theta Alpha Sigma chapter in Long Beach, Delta Psi Sigma chapter in San Fernando Valley. We have a cohesive unit of brothers, and most of those chapters, brothers, are from my era, Brother Lewis's era, the 1980s. So it was a different time. We were taught by the other giants before us on how to be Sigma Men. And of course, our motto is culture for service and service for humanity. So we're servicemen. I always tell brothers, Sigma's a serviceman. So we're going to serve those communities, whether it be rain, heat, civil unrest, Sigmas will be there. Well, we've experienced all that in the last 20 years with the events that happened in Los Angeles. We've experienced all that, and we're going to be there to serve the community regardless. And our chapter is, like I said, is a bedrock in South Los Angeles now. There's so many people depending on what we do. And you don't think about it in linear terms, but these people, with the programs we're doing, they're depending on that. They know that will help them do something else. And I'm sure we'll get in a conversation later about healing and hope and what that is. They're depending on that stuff. So it's up to us as Sigma men, African American men, to be a positive impact in those communities, because sadly there's so many negative tropes in the communities, and we try to erase a lot of that just by our actions of what we're doing. We don't have to promote and get out on the soapbox. We do the work. And that's what Sigma is about, doing the work.
Changing the stereotypes, challenging the narrative. That's right. Now, since you mentioned it, let's go ahead and get into healing and hope. Could you explain, because I think that was one of the things that you brought to Kappa Delta Sigma, right?
Absolutely. I brought it back. I had started the actual organization started with myself and two other men, Mr. Vincent Lowe and Mr. Octavie Ramsey. We all grew up together at the Normandy Church of Christ. And just by happenstance, one day, this gentleman walked up to the three of us and asked us, could he give us $1, give him $1. What's the first thing you're going to think about when somebody asks you for $1? They're going to do something else with it. He said, "Oh, I need to get me something to eat." So we thought about that and said, well, man, there's nothing around here that are helping individuals like this eat. So we went in our own pockets initially and started making sack lunches, sandwiches. We were going into the Food for Less in South Los Angeles buying all this stuff. The manager would see us in there every 2 weeks. And why are you guys buying all this stuff? We told him we were going downtown Los Angeles with Fred Jordan mission. We were feeding people. They started donating. That's where we started downtown. We started in 2 different entities. Then another individual that we knew that was bringing an 18-wheel truck into South Los Angeles. All 3 of us started working on that truck for a year so we can learn how to feed others.
Okay.
And when 2005 came, we applied for the USDA grant, working with the United States Department of Agriculture.
Okay.
So our base is in Long Beach. We pick the food up every 2 weeks. We're picking up about 5 tons of food every 2 weeks. And we pick up from another entity called Heart of Compassion, we get another ton from there. So we're bringing that in to the community. And it was rough when we got started because we just had a group of volunteers and an idea, and we're going to just do it. We were hand picking up everything. We had no equipment, no tools, barely a scant amount of volunteers. And what I always tell people, you have to put the work in to build. So when I came back in 2008 to the Kappa Delta Sigma chapter, I brought it with me because the brothers before me they found out I was doing it in the community. And a friend of ours that went to USC would have said, that guy's over there feeding people every 2 weeks, and they had no clue. So I started getting phone calls from these brothers that made me, so to speak, and said, well, wait a minute, why are you doing all that? You're not doing it for Sigma, you were Sigma. And that's what got me back and I brought it with me. And the chapter has been instrumental in building. We were able to build our volunteer base, get our equipment, all these things start happening. But these brothers have been steadfast in their involvement. Like Brother Lewis that's on the call is my right-hand man basically now in the organization, Healing and Hope. He does I mean, I can't even describe what he's done since he's come back. And some of the other brothers in our chapter come back because of this. They say, oh man, I can come out and help. And then they come back into the chapter because they see we're about doing something to serve the community. Yeah, it's easy for people to do the lip service thing, but we actually do the work.
That's right.
And like I said, we're out there pouring rain like it's been, it's rainy out here in Los Angeles. And we've been out there because one of the things I always tell brothers is just because the weather's bad, people are still hungry. Just because it's 100 degrees outside, people are hungry. So we're going to be out there. If something happens like COVID-19 knocked us out for about 6 months to 9 months. There's nothing we can do. U.S. Department of Agriculture shut down. And so we were trying to figure out how we going to feed these people because they're really in a bad spot.
Yeah.
Because the pandemic, plus they were counting on the food. So I know Mr. Law and myself and the brothers, we start figuring out creative ways to feed these people with whatever we had. That little bit of stuff we were giving them then, it wasn't accustomed to what we were giving them. It still helped them until we can get the USA back on track. They opened 9 months later, and we went from there. But like I said, in South Los Angeles, it's void of resources.
Yes.
So we figured this is a consistent resource for them because you have a lot of one-off giveaways sometimes, that especially during the Thanksgiving time period, a lot of celebrities and them, but we're consistent throughout the year. We're going to be out there twice a month all year. So that's 24 times we're going to be out there every 2 weeks. And some people we've had since we've opened since 06. Some of these families have been around us that long and they know they're going to get it. They can take that money they needed to do something else and pay a bill. Take care of their children because they're getting enough food to last them in some instances for those 2 weeks. We don't do chintzy stuff. We give them everything: vegetables, fruit, meat, any type of clean supplies, all these different type of things we're giving them: milk, eggs, cheese, staples that they're going to pay. A grocery bill can be $100 when you have a half a basket of stuff. So what we're doing for these people and some of the shelters that we're servicing now in some surrounding communities as well through our sorority sisters, we are servicing these people at their need level, which is the level that a lot of citizens don't think about. Because the human experience is, oh, I'm good, so I'm not thinking about anybody else. We think about everybody else that people don't want to think about.
Yeah, you got to consider the tribe. You got to consider the village. Now, listening to you talk, I want to ask Mr. Lewis just a quick question, then I'm gonna go back. Man with a vision, your president here, is he difficult to work with? Because it seems like he can pile on more work and pile on more work. It's just me and you. He's not here. Is he difficult to work with?
No. and the thing is, first of all, it has to be in your heart to serve.
Yes.
If you don't have it in your heart, then it makes no sense out there. When you're out there, you're looking for what's my bottom line. When am I going to get paid? Your payment is to see that smile on that person's face. That is your payment because you're in a position to do better than they are.
Yes.
And what happens is that's got to be your driving force to help the community because we all come from the community, basically. We just happen to have great parents, some good mentors, somebody who led us out of the community. But then you can't turn your back on the community because I grew up in Compton. First, I came from New York to Compton. So I come to Compton when Compton was gang banging.
When Compton was Compton. Right?
When Compton was Compton, it was like it was no safe place to go. And from my experience, I grew up in a blood neighborhood and went to a Crip school. So
You had to get through
I
some.
had to maneuver my way in and out of places.
Okay.
And so while I was doing that, I saw how my community was suffering because my father and my mother kept us in the Boy Scouts and things like that to keep us out of trouble.
Yeah.
And my friends would say, your parents are strict and this and that.
For a
But
reason.
today I look back on my life and say, they saved me
That's
because
right.
they got me to a better place.
That's right.
And when I say that, I say, what can I do to give back? Because everybody's not as fortunate. So what he does drive us, he give us the vision to pursue the goal, but it's up to us to do it. Because a lot of times what we say, what he would tell us, hey, he'll whisper to me, I gotta go somewhere and I won't be back for the rest of the day. So you have the Healing and Hope program. And since I've been back with the program, I've been basically over the big families. So we have two sets groups of people. We have the individual family, and then we have the big family. The individual family comes between 8 and 10, and the large family starts from 10 to whenever they finish. And what I say finish, that means we have to load their trucks because we have food sitting out there on pallets that we have to load and divide up between the number of families that we have, the big families.
Wow.
And it could be 5, it could be 6,
Wow.
some days it could be 3.
Okay.
But you can guarantee there will be 5 families coming out here to get some food. We load those trucks up, make sure we get all the things that we can get into them, and they go on their merry little way. And so that is and this is all for no pay. Don't look out there for pay. Don't look out there for somebody to say thank you or something like that. You get that from the family.
That's right.
The people who get the food and say, oh, they'll ask, we have meat today? We don't have any meat today. Oh, but bless you anyway.
That's
And,
right.
and that is the reward to keep you going, especially when it's raining. It get lonely out there in the rain because you stand up there and you gotta realize that this rain is pouring down on your head, and here's this family come up to you that either living on the street or wherever, and you going, man, I just got to get them some food, and we help them put the bags in their cars, or sometimes we have to help some of them that live right down the street or push a cart down the street because they come up there and they don't have a cart or they're sickly. We do have a man that comes out there every week now who is blind, who's living on the street.
Get out. And there's no in LA County, no social services that he could.
We don't know what his circumstances are. He always come up and say,
Maybe he won't. Yeah.
I'm walking, and we give him food. We give him the cans of food.
Yeah.
We give him what he asked for, and we send him on his way.
Wow.
And each week he comes back. So he's
Commendable.
surviving, but I don't know how, and we don't know when.
Just take care of him. Commendable. Because it's just commendable what you gentlemen are doing, because sometimes with some of us Black folks, we go off, we get our education, we leave our communities, and we don't even look back. So for
No.
for you guys to just say, no, we are planted here. This is our community, and we're going to take care of our community. I mean, so how often? You said twice a month?
We do it every first and third Saturday of every month.
Okay.
Rain or shine, we're going to be out there every first and third Saturday. It's something Brother Lewis mentioned as well. With his upbringing, a lot of us that are in these organizations have those similar stories. You grew up in South Los Angeles when it was called South Central Los Angeles. Gentrification and a more political view turned it to South Los Angeles. So now we're accustomed to saying it, but I tell people I grew up in South Central Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And you're blessed to have those mentors, those teachers, those church parents, those men, those women, all of them giving you that village, like you mentioned. That's your village when you're small. And you didn't think about it then, but you look at some other people, they don't get that. A lot of people that we deal with and come out, we know they didn't get those type of opportunities. Mm-hmm. And that's the unfortunate part, but they see this moving forward. which reminds me of what we're getting ready to do, like I mentioned to you, with our Vita program, which is the IRS voluntary income tax assistance. It's really for the low income and the elderly, because we counsel the elderly. That's a national program with IRS, and we're going to open, the first week of March. It will be open to June. I'm not June, April 15th.
Where do people have to go to?
Well, they'll call a number. There's a
Okay.
number that we have on flyer, and most of these people we've been dealing with them for years.
Okay.
So, I mean, we've had some people we've been dealing with for 10, 11 years, and they don't know. They're just going to go with us, which reminds me of a quick story that when we were in our third year in 2012, a young African-American woman showed up. She was real patient. She sat there, and when one of the brothers, Brother Lee McGill, who's been with me from day one, looked at her address, she was from Lancaster, California. That's 8 miles away from us. And we were mystified. We said, well, why did you come here when you could have went to several others in Lancaster? What ended up happening is we had just did her sister's taxes a week before. The sister told her that my taxes were done by some black men in the community with blue shirts on and then charging nothing for it. So she didn't believe it. So she drove from Lancaster to South LA, where we were, to get her taxes done. And we said, well, why would you do that? She said, I just wanted to have my taxes done by black men that are positive in this community. She had grew up in that community. She said, I didn't believe it. She said, I called my sister a liar. She called her sister to apologize over her cell phone. She could not believe there were African-American men doing taxes for the community for free.
Got to be a scam. Got to be some scam.
Yeah, she just couldn't believe it. And this is the impact that these programs have in these communities. A lot of people don't think about programs and impact in the community. Sadly, the politicians don't think that way either. Mm-hmm. So we're going to continue to do what we need to be doing in South Los Angeles to be anchored in that community. We're going to continue to feed it. We're going to continue to service it. We've done other projects in the community. We've had health fairs in the community. We've had policing events in the community. A couple of years ago, when they had the midterm elections, we did, because there's a lot of propositions in California. Mm-hmm. We brought a political strategist out, a young African-American woman, and she went over the propositions, because people get bamboozled with those TV ads about those propositions, and they don't read the voter panel. Mm-hmm. So we had her come out and explain all of them. Okay. So this is the type of things that our chapter does in this community. And what alluding also what Brother Lewis said, we're as you can see, we're not in it for the publicity and those type of things. We virtually go unnoticed, but people in that community know us because we're going to be there every 2 weeks. Yeah. There's people that get to our to Healing and Hope for the Homeless at 5 o'clock in the morning. And we don't open this, we just start opening at 7. They're there 2 hours waiting. We call them zeros, and Brother Lewis handles that. He's pretty much they're going to wait the 2 hours. They're older African-American grandmother types, and they're taking that food and feeding their grandchildren. They're they're feeding other people with it, they told us. That's what they're doing. They're going to be there. Rain or shine, we take care of them. Mm-hmm. We're also working with a shelter in the city of Inglewood called Starlight, and they help families that have been struggling on the street get back on their feet. They usually have 12 to 16 families. We've been working with them the last 16 months. They get a box every 2 weeks. Okay. So they're being taught to take their funding to get back on their feet, because they're eventually going to graduate out the program. So we've been giving them boxes so they can save more of their money, moving forward on what they're going to do. These are young African-American women, mostly with small children, trying to get their education, trying to get employment, trying to get back on their feet. So we've been working with them. And also, as Brother Lewis alluded to, When we do the larger families, we call them, those are other organizations coming in. Those are other churches. Those are other organizations.
Okay.
And they're going out and taking what we give them, and they set up their community grocery thing in their communities
Okay.
and feed people. Like I said, we got people coming from all parts of the Los Angeles County and Riverside and San Bernardino County, San Diego County. So this is the impact that we're having in Southern
Nice.
California right now.
Awesome, awesome. So about how many volunteers on deck?
Right now, we built our volunteer base. I think we're just about closing in on about maybe 100. Because we have the brothers out, we have the sorority sisters out, we have college students out, we have elderly grandmother types. We built it to a unit because they do the boxes on Fridays for us. And Brother Lewis is part of that as well. They do the boxes on Friday so we can set them up on Saturdays. We used to do a farmer's market type thing where they would come in and go through the stations, but COVID changed that landscape when we started doing the boxes when COVID started. So we stuck with it. The box is a little bit more economical to get them and go. We're able to, expedite serving the community that way. So we have different tiers of volunteers. We have set up crew of older gentlemen coming in at 5 o'clock in the morning to start setting that stuff up. We have those. We have all kind of entities now. And one of the things I always tell people, you're thinking about doing this, 2 things you're going to have to do. You're going to have your infrastructure set up properly, and you're going to have a volunteer base. Otherwise, there's been a lot of agencies to try to do this. They come out and watch this. They fail at it because they're not seeing the man hours, the sweat equity, what we're doing to build this. On the surface, it looks like we just get the food, pass it out. There's a lot more to it than that moving forward. And we get monitored by the United States Department of Agriculture too. Their monitors come out to make sure you're not selling the food, you're not doing something crazy, because there have been other organizations do that stuff. We're consistent in what we do. We've been dealing with them since 2006, so they pretty much know we're going to be consistent in what we're doing. We're not going to deviate from it. The brothers are not going to deviate from it. The volunteers are not going to deviate from it. Myself as vice chairman, we're not going to deviate from what we're going to do moving forward. Because our mission statement is to feed the disenfranchised in South Los Angeles. That's a simple mission statement for Healing and Hope for Homeless. That's what we do.
So you've been at this
doing a whole big grand spiel out of this.
Yeah. So you've been at this for I think 10 years now. Have you because the unhoused population in Los Angeles?
Well, actually, the nonprofit is 2006, so we're looking at about almost.
Oh yeah, that's almost you're coming up 20. Yeah, 20.
Almost 18 years. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been at this grind for for a while.
So my question is, I don't mean to cut you off. My question is, the unhoused population in Los Angeles is getting a lot of attention, and you've been in the trenches for some time now. Has it grown in volumes over the years, or?
Actually, it has. When we got started in 2006, I think we were doing maybe 50 people consistently, and it wasn't, it wasn't really a lot of homeless people on the street. But since if you drive forward, there's no community is really not touched by this, including some of the affluent ones. They show up there. They probably run them out, but they do show up. When you look at all the campers, motorhomes, tents, tarps, whatever they can put together, and when you think about it, how are these people surviving in this type of weather in Los Angeles right now? How's that tarp holding all that water out? These type of things moving forward. How are they surviving with with food and those type of things? As Brother Lewis said, we'll get individuals that'll pop up. Yeah, they got some issues there and they're struggling. And they're not looking to take a box. And what we do is pack them up with whatever we think they can carry. One of the things I do, and Brother Lewis will attest to this as well, I make these little kits with cereal bars, fruit snacks. We have chili that we get from the USA, you don't have to refrigerate. They come in packs.
Okay.
And as soon as I see somebody or somebody asks me, you always get asked this, can you get me something to eat? I go to my car and give them a pack. That's what they're going to probably get out the grocery store. Somebody's going to do for them.
Mhm.
And it's got some things in there where they can survive a couple of days. A lot of these people are Army, military veterans and stuff. And it's shocking that these people don't get any services. Because they'll have a sign saying, I'm a vet. And you're like, man. And I start talking to them and tell them, you can go to the VA either in West LA or Long Beach, but these individuals don't want to deal with the bureaucracy of life.
Mhm.
That's not where they are. That's
Mhm.
why they're on the streets, a lot of them in the first place. They don't want to deal with services, social workers, individuals. And one of the problems the politicians have is you just can't take an individual off the street and put him in a room. There's some things like mental health counseling,
Yes.
medical services they need, and they need some life skills to be able to survive in that room.
Mhm.
And they always do that, and then the person goes right back out on the street in usually in days in some cases. They'll come and tell us that they were getting a room, and the next 2 weeks we see them back at the grocery giveaway. I said, wait a minute, I thought you was in a room. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And that's sad right there. But this is
Yeah.
where we are bureaucracy wise. And, these things need to be addressed at that, local, state, and national level, unfortunately. And that's what social action is for us as Sigmas, to address these type of things. This is what our fraternity brothers, the Honorable John Lewis, A. Philip Randolph, UEP, these men addressed those issues. They didn't, Harry Belafonte, they didn't run from these issues. And this is what we are as Sigma men. We're not going to run from these issues. It'd be easy for us to just do little simple stuff in the community like some other agencies do, but we don't do that. We're going to meet you at your needs and what you are. Like I said, like Brother Lewis said, those families are super appreciative that box they get. It's loaded with things they're going to get, and they know they can take that money, take care of a bill, some type of situation. Remember, a lot of these people are paycheck to paycheck,
if that,
or they're on government services, so that's limited what they're going to get. So that's stretching their dollar. And that's, like I said, our chapter, this is what we're baked into. This was the whole premise of the chapter being founded in 1980, to do these type of things in the community.
Doing the work, and I think it's vital that we get this out, because I think a lot of times people have a myth about Black Greek organizations, that it's just a lot of party, but they don't know that it's roll your sleeves up and go to work and do the work. And I want to kind of talk about some of the other stuff that you have going on, because you guys are very impactful about raising the next generation of Sigmas. And one of the initiatives that Phi Beta Sigma has nationwide is the Sigma Beta Club, which I see your chapter is heavily invested in. And I saw the pictures of the gentlemen, you know, the universities and colleges that the young men were going to, but there's a process that happens before they go. So could you explain what goes on in the Sigma Beta Club before?
There's a process involved, and Brother Lewis is one of our Sigma Beta advisors, as well as I am.
Look, you got the little smirk. What, the boys give you trouble there?
No. You got to remember, a lot of these young men we get, their mothers are coming to us and finding us through others. Their young men are dealing with some things that, when we were 10, 11 years old, that was Star Wars. Since that was a galaxy far away from us. So we have to break some of these young men down, and to build them and start teaching them things like etiquette.
So that's what you do?
We teach them these things. We go over how to conduct yourself at a table. You don't talk with food in your mouth. There's some topics you don't talk about at the table. We've had we've had trainings with these young men about this. You don't just grab food. You use your knife and fork. We've had to do that. And I was out of a necessity need, because we did something one day and had some some food for him, and one of the kids just came up with his hand and grabbed him and said, "Oh, whoa, man. You're not at home. You don't do that in public." So we went and started doing etiquette classes with them. How to speak in public when you're at an event. You'll be surprised how many people get lost in translation with that. If they do go to an event at all, they're struggling on what to talk about, how to introduce yourself. We go over that with the young men, how to introduce yourself in public. Another thing we do with them, we work on their public speaking. So they're not mumbling through when you will ask them, tell us about yourself. No. Start off with your name and where you're going to school. What are you doing? What do you plan to do? These are some of the things that the Sigma Beta Club works with at a national level, at a regional level, at a local level. Well, one of our dear brothers, Brother Ali Todd, is the Western Region Director of Sigma Beta Club. So we have him, and he has open chapters in the Inland Empire chapter, the two Los Angeles chapters here. He's working on the Valley chapter. He has been tireless, just as myself and Brother Lewis, in trying to build Los Angeles into something with these Sigma Beta clubs. So, unfortunately, there's so many young men that are struggling because if it's just single parent, they're trying to just keep food on the table, keep them sheltered. Then they're getting caught up in the bad vices in life, the streets. My uncle used to tell me, when my old man used to tell me, the streets are undefeated. Many have tried, all have failed. They started telling me that at 10 years old. And that's the truth. These guys think they can defeat the streets. And we talk to our young men about this. There's only two paths you can take. You can get on Broadway, and that's going to be a rough road. You're going to blow tires out on your car, your life car, we call it. Or you can get on straight and narrow. Pavement is nice. You might hit a bump, but you're going to be able to get your car fixed and keep moving. This is the conversation we have with our young men. And we've had at least a dozen in the last few years graduate, go on to the Navy, go on to college. That's where they are right now. We have a young man that has been in our program the 10 years we've had the program. He was on our charter class of 3 young men. He is headed to Tulane University next fall with a full scholarship. Yeah, he's headed to Tulane. So these are the type of young men we're putting out. The other chapters are putting out. I've had coworkers at my job because they do others. They've heard about it, find out that I'm a Sigma. My grandson, my son is struggling. We put them in the program. A lot of our sorority sisters' sons are in our program. A lot of the neighborhood kids that we see, having issues running around, we go talk to them. We'll go down and talk to the parent. We have a program here. If you want to put him in there on Saturdays and try to keep him off the streets a little while, if he's around other positive African American men, because they see negative influence, sadly, of male relatives and stuff, and that's what they're influenced by. If they start seeing positive African American men, professionals, college educated professionals working in the community. We've had our simulators come out and work at Hewlett Oklahoma so we can teach them what social action is. If you're the next generation, you should be standing here in 20 years instead of us. We're going to be old and dusty. You should be standing here and doing this. It's your time then. So this is what we teach our young men moving forward. In our chapter, we have several brothers that are dedicated to it. We've been dedicated to it. We won't let these young men down. We don't let their mothers down moving forward. We've had some of the fathers come out. We've even branched off and done a few of these hybrid type clubs. The one that I used to work with at the All Boys Academy that's at George Washington Preparatory High School in South Los Angeles. When they first opened that academy, our brother Sean Moores, one of the brothers in our chapter, was the first principal there, asked me to start coming out. And so what I was doing is bringing comic books. These kids love Wakanda. And I said, well, what do you think Wakanda is? That was the first class I did with them, teaching them that, T'Challa is a king. What does a king do? The king's like a president. He's responsible for a whole country of people. They didn't think that way. They're just for the entertainment value. No, get deeper into what Wakanda is and what he's trying to do. So we had some interesting conversations with those young men. Those were middle school kids, in the 6th through 8th grade. And they couldn't wait for me to come on Monday. They bugged Brother Moore to death. Is he coming today? Is he coming today? And this is the type of things that we do, which is kind of a hybrid of our adopt a classroom model that we do. We kind of incorporated Sigma Beta Club and adopt a classroom with that one moving forward. So, all our programs kind of flesh out into other programs.
I got you.
So,
You guys are doing a lot. How many brothers are in Kappa?
We have at least about 28. Our core group is about 8. Our core group of brothers. How
does this all work? I mean, does he let you sleep, Brother Lewis?
Oh, hey, but with my talent, let's say this, I thrive on being busy, but at the same time, it's something that I used to coach basketball.
Okay.
And AAU ball, and I was around when James Harden was the little dude that played with my son and against my son. Now he's in the NBA, and of course, my son, no, he didn't go to the NBA, but I had to let him know it's something more for you. It's an education more for you. My son now is he has his PhD, and he's at Morgan State.
Awesome.
Mental health
Great.
teacher. Now he's teaching over there. So I'm happy for him. And I knew he wasn't coming back here, but while he was here, he got a taste of healing and hope. Like, hey, he's a Sigma. Hey, you do your work, do your service. I say, you may not be in a position to give money at all the time, but you have education, you have something to give back. Give back to your community. And you will be better off. Just continue to give. And that's what we instill. We start off, like you say, Sigma Beta is our foundation. We can build with little kids. Little kids are impressionable. The first thing they see, they grab onto, they gravitate to. If they see education is the thing, they're going to gravitate to education because that's the way of being presented. You have to teach them self-esteem. You have to teach them how to dress. Because half of these kids, and I was surprised, kid was in college and he didn't know how to tie a tie.
Things are so different now.
And I'm saying, you don't know how to tie a tie? No, you have to learn how to tie this tie. I'm going to teach you how to tie a tie. Can you cook? Oh, I can't cook. Go get you some hamburger meat. It's cheap. It's not as cheap as it was when I was coming up, but it's cheap. Burn it and learn. So you have to teach these kids because they really don't know.
They didn't have those mamas say that meat better take that meat out before I get home from work. They didn't have them kind of mamas. Right?
No, they didn't have no. It wasn't the type of mama like I had. The house better be clean. Nobody better not be over.
Yes,
you better be out, and those dishes better be washed. See, I grew up with that because I had no sisters.
Yeah,
so I know men ways. I'm hungry. Yeah, you go in there and cook. You hungry? Because my mother was not the cooking type.
So
she had a microwave, and when my son was coming up, she took my son and said, "This is what you have to do. I'm gonna take you to Costco. You're gonna get you some food, and you're gonna cook it. The microwave was right there. You put it on 2 minutes, boom, boom, you eat." That's the way she was. So I look at the kids that's coming up, and I see the things that they have to deal with, and it's more than what we had to deal with because girls was icky to us. Girls are on the plateau right now.
They're on the forefront. They're on the
it's at an early age that you have to deal with it, and then they have other issues. You have the sexuality identities now.
Yeah.
Him, me, her, them.
Yeah.
I didn't have that, so it's a little different for me. So when we talking to these kids, we have to also broaden our horizon and say.
Then they have the social media presence,
right?
All of the other stuff,
All the other things that you have to deal with first to win them over, and then now you got to rebuild
Mhm.
it and teach them. Don't be ashamed. If that's who you identify with, I have no problem with it.
Mhm.
Just let me know so I can identify it
And
to
we just
you.
want you to be the best you can be.
That's
We
it.
want you
I
to be
can't
the
expect
best
you to be the president when you don't know what the president is. I
Mhm.
just want you to be the best you. Look, all you gotta do is if you don't want to learn, I tell my kids this early. You don't want to learn, I just better not see no twos, no fours and fives on your conduct in class. That means you keeping somebody else from learning. If you don't want to learn,
Yes.
that's your choice.
Yes, that's a big deal.
But let everybody else learn.
Yeah.
So
Don't be
it's
holding
things
everybody
that you
else
do,
back.
and like I say, like what you're alluding to, our programs go from one to the next, and we all build on. And yes, there are a group of us that are compassionate about what we do, and we just say, "This is where I shine the best at. This is my program. I'm gonna run this program. I will help out in the other programs, but this is mine. This is my baby."
Yeah.
And
I
so
see.
everybody is not carrying a load by themselves. So everybody takes a turn to lead, and you get to coast a little bit sometimes. So
Teamwork
it makes
makes
it
the
easy.
dream work. Teamwork makes the
Yeah,
dream work.
it does. It
Teamwork
does.
makes the dream work. I mean,
True.
just what Brother Lewis alluded to, that's leadership. And I was taught to lead by example.
Yeah.
That's what I was taught, by your parents, grandparents, all like from the deep South and deep rural Louisiana there. So it was a different time. They survived. When you think about my father's parents were born in 1911, 1913. They survived World War One, the Great Depression, World War Two, the Jim Crow South, the Civil Rights Movement. They went through all of that stuff just to make sure those generations behind them can be doing this type of stuff.
Right.
That's important to lead by example.
Yes.
And my brothers at my chapter know I'm gonna be the first one out there. I'm not gonna ask you to do something that I'm not gonna do first as the chapter president. That's crazy right there. I'm gonna be out there doing it. I'm gonna big time folk. That's not what we're about. That's not what I'm about, and that's
Mhm.
not what these brothers are about. These brothers have committed their time, their resources, funding. We funded different things. We funded, elementary schools. We funded things. This is what we do. So I can't speak for anybody else, but this is what this chapter is
The
based
work of
into
Sigma.
South Los Angeles.
Work of Sigma. When I stepped on campus in 1987 at UCLA, Sigmas were the first ones I encountered. And now, fast forward to 2024, I run into people who are those guys with the letters? I'm like, you don't know who these, I mean, they're in the community, they're entrenched in the community. I mean, they're such the pillars and they're holding it up. And, it always amazes me when people have no clue who you gentlemen are and the work that you guys are doing. It just amazes me. I want to touch on one more thing. I think because I have taken up enough of your time.
That's okay.
You, sir, Mr. Bailey, are part of something that I had no clue Sigmas even had, and that's the Sigma Pack 1914. Break that down for me, because I think
Okay,
it's
we formed. Some brothers decided to form a political pack about 5 years ago in 2020, and that was some international officers and a few other politically minded brothers wanted to get a political pack going. So our first purpose was to help the brothers across the country that were running for offices at the state level, the national level, Congress, and those type of entities
okay.
moving forward. So the pack was formed then. It's still, valid and vibrant now. We have a dynamic young chairman now named Frederick D. Bell. He's out of Louisiana, but he's working in D.C. He's our chairman right now. And, we've been influential in what we do. If a candidate wants to get an endorsement from the PAC, they come on and meet with the board. We ask them questions. They explain what they're going to do when they get the job. Moving forward, a few years ago, we had our sorority sister Sydney 𝗙𝗪𝗦𝗘𝗏 when she was running for Congress. She came on our Sigma PAC board and presented herself, and we gave her an endorsement as well. So we've had those type of entities. We formed it, and we're going to branch out. We're not going to just limited to Sigma Brothers and Zeta sorors. We have other individuals that might be D9s or not. We're looking at them as well. They can come on and present to the PAC. So the board right now has about 14 members. All 7 of the regional directors of social action are on the board, as well as the international director. That was baked into it because when you're doing political stuff and politics in general, that's what social action is primarily. This is where, and matter of fact, we have something coming up. This will be our 3rd one, I think. We're doing the John R. Lewis boot camp.
Good trouble.
We're, young Sigma brothers or even older Sigma brothers that aspire to run for political office. They're going to get some valuable tools to learn how to run a campaign, what they have to do to solicit PACs, those type of things. And it's a 3-day boot camp for them. So we named it obviously after our honorable brother John Lewis. We also, the first weekend in March is the John Lewis Good Trouble Weekend. Sigma brothers across the country should go out in communities, cause good trouble, necessary trouble, be working in the communities. We're locked in because that's one of our healing and hope weekends. So we're out there, but if anything else come up, as Brother Lewis attests, one year we went out after we did the grocery giveaway. We went out in the South Los Angeles with bags. We made these travel bags of groceries, driving up to different communities. We drove up on a community in South Los Angeles that's, behind some old dilapidated buildings where the Newsom Dairy used to be. And we discovered a shanty town back there. There had to be 20 families of people back there. So we just gave them what we had. We had about 24 bags of stuff. We had to leave it all there. We could not just give one person. The one guy saw us and walked up to us and said, well, you need a bag of groceries, brothers? And he just shook his head. He said, you need a bag of groceries? He walked us around and showed us what this was. You talk about an impact. Kids back there. We're like, man. He said, this who needs it, he told us. And so we left everything there and we told them, if you can get down to where we are, we'll give you some groceries. So 3 or 4 of them start coming regularly. And this is sad when you have this type of environment in a city like Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
That's the sad part.
One of the
right
supposed
there.
to be one of the greatest cities in America, right? Everybody aspires to come here, right? But
it has the largest homeless population in the country by a long shot. Because remember, in the eastern southern areas, they can't do homeless this time of year. They'll freeze to death. So they all migrate here. Like the Great Migration. And my parents grew up out here in the early 1960s. So that's kind of what it is to be the Great Migration, to be homeless on the streets of Los Angeles.
Because the weather's warmer,
The weather's warmer, and unfortunately, due to gentrification and those type of things, they started to clear out those tent cities and stuff because they're eyesores, and we don't know what they're doing with the people because are they putting them in a room? What are they going to do with them?
Where they're going? Yeah, I remember years ago. Yeah, I remember years ago when they decimated downtown Los Angeles. I said, well, where'd you put everybody? Where'd everybody go? And all of a sudden some nice, high rises were going up. I was like, okay, so I see why you did that. But anyways, that's another conversation I could talk to you for. So let me ask you this before I let you gentlemen go. Just before I ask my random question, reflective question, because you gentlemen have been in the Brotherhood for some decades now, and you pledged undergrad, and you're now in the Alumni Chapter, and we all evolve and grow. So how has the Brotherhood, the meaning, the value of Phi Beta Sigma changed for you undergrad versus now alumni? How has it grown for you? How has the meaning of brotherhood grown for you over the years?
Ooh, I'd go first on that one.
Go ahead.
For me, the difference is because you got to realize I came from South. I'm talking about San Diego by the border.
The
all
party
that.
college, the party college. That's what I knew you guys.
Yeah, that's what everybody say. Then we moved from there. I left there and came here. And the difference in brotherhood, it's always been for me the love I've always received here. Being in San Diego, we was a distant star compared to LA, but because the way I was initiated because I lived here. Okay, you gonna come to LA and you gonna make friends of brothers in LA. So it was always united. And it's always been that way for me, united. I don't look at a brother from Sacramento to San Diego and different. We still brothers.
That's my brother.
The goal is, what are we doing? We got to have a common goal. That common goal is, I'm telling people, I like service. If you're not serving, what are you doing? I mean, I can go party with you all day long, but those days are done for me. It's like when you get older, I can sit at the club 2 or 3 hours doing nothing, spinning my wheels. I'm not accomplishing anything. I'm not serving anybody's purpose, especially not my own. I'm getting a little bit broker because those drinks are very high. But so what I look at is now as the maturity level, I become a life member in Phi Beta Sigma. My focus is totally different. It's more on a bigger path, and I'm looking at what more can I do at my level to impact the bigger level. Because as a teen, I wasn't thinking that big. Look, I'm trying to get my own. I'm out for self and self-preservation. That's how I was thinking. But as I got older, I started saying, man, you just didn't go to college just to get yours. You got to remember, you got to reach back and get somebody else.
That's right.
Whether it be a child, whether it be an adult. And for me, I'm rewarded because I've been involved with our membership intake program from the onset I've been here in the chapter. So I have touched some lives. I have touched some kids' lives, some alumni lives who want to be in the fraternity. And their thing is, Brother Lewis, you do a lot for us. I said, what I do for you? I do for you the same thing I do at work. When I go to work, I'm not out there for myself. I'm out there for how can my team be better?
Awesome.
How can our goal is, if you make $1, I'm gonna make 50 cents of that dollar. But if you make no money, it costs me money. So I can't be out for self. So I'm putting you in positions to grow so that we all can grow. We all moving. And that's the way I look at it, as the perspective of my life is just not my life. My life is, how do I impact it? I want to leave my footprint. When I'm gone, the footprint is still there for you to follow. And that's what you do. When you have kids, you hope that your kid follow your footsteps. But sometimes you don't want to follow your footsteps, but
not them college days footsteps.
yeah, yeah. But you want that. And so my legacy is not just for me. My legacy is for those I'm going to leave behind me.
True.
And make sure they impact the world.
Beautiful.
You leave the world changed from when you came into it. And that's what I look at.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. Mr. Bailey, how's it changed for you over the years?
Well, some of the stuff that Brother Lewis alluded to, it was maturity for me. I came in as a collegiate, and came in with some giants in our fraternity that are, that reached the highest honor. And a couple of these brothers were founders of the chapter at UNC. So I had a innate knowledge of what to do. And one of those things those brothers did when you came with an idea, and we do this in Kappa Delta Sigma, a lot of the stuff that we're doing now were just ideas at first. A lot of the projects that we do, a brother came in with an idea. Now you can squelch that idea for protocol purposes. No, what's the idea, brother? And they mention it. Well, how many brothers you think it's going to take to put that together? And this is what we start doing. We start putting these projects together. And the one thing with me with maturity, because I was gone for a while from the organization. And once I got back and start doing healing and hope and these type of things, those brothers came calling. Because what I always tell brothers, you owe the brothers that thought you were worthy to come into this organization. You owe those brothers for what you're doing. And some of those brothers are in this chapter. So they came a calling. You owe us. So that's a marker I had to put on the table and slide across. And so, and I was a local brother. I was local, Los Angeles social action, was content with it. This is what I wanted to do. Start, going up the ranks. And I had no aspirations to be chapter president or none of this stuff. That wasn't my focus. But then other power brokers start seeing you, and it's your time right there. You're not gonna tell the brother that you're not gonna. A lot of brothers do it, but I didn't. I said, "Oh, I'm not gonna tell this brother. I'm not gonna do it." That's how I got to the regional level, to the national stuff, the national level moving forward. Hey, brother, it's your time. We see you as a leader. And one of the brothers that we mentioned earlier that's no longer with us, Brother Kerry Williams, one of the New Delta UCLA guys, told me that he said, you are going to be that guy sooner or later. You just don't know it. And I said, K-Bone, this is what we used to call him. Nah, that's not my thing.
K-Bone.
Watch and see. He said, you're going to be that guy with those guys, those power brokers. You're going to be a power broker. He used to always tell me that. Didn't catch it. So I do stuff for him. Ron Thornton is another brother from UCLA. I do stuff for him. He went to high school with my brother and sister. So these type of brothers we do it for. We honor these type of brothers in our chapter because it was a devastating blow to lose those brothers in our chapter. So we have to keep doing it for them because they were coming out and doing it. Awesome. They were always doing things for the community. Brother Woods would cook for the community, make pastries. This is what he was. Anything that I had that I can help him with, I would give it to him. He would call me and tell me, hey, Woody, there's a sister over in South Los Angeles. She's all this stuff, hurting, lost her job, all this stuff. What do you need? You need a box? What do you want me to bring this box, Brother Williams? I take it over there. They're stunned to see the level of stuff that's coming towards them. And she said, well, why would you do this? One sister asked, because Brother Williams asked me to do it. This is what we do as Sigmas.
That's the Brotherhood.
So you need it every 2 weeks. I'm going to bring it over here every 2 weeks. What do you do? I asked her, job wise, we start checking our network of brothers, networks of sorority sisters, who works in this field. We got people in all walks of life. And eventually a sorority sister found her a job. She was so thankful, she just broke down emotionally because it was a lot of weight on her. She had a small kid. And this is the type of stuff that we do. So when you get to the maturity level, and you're comfortable who you are, now you know that people depend on you. People are dependent on you. Brothers are depending on you. The community's dependent on you. These type of things, along with family, they depend on you. That's why I say the lead by example stuff is deep with me. Because you can talk it. Brother Lewis tell we heard a bunch of them talking, but they don't walk it and live it.
Nope.
No, they talk all day to you till they run out of breath. But they're not living it. Him and I are living it. This is what we're going to do. We get calls. I can call this man. I've had situations where I had to do things. Man, call this man up. No questions asked. He shows up. it might be 2 or 3 of us putting together 200 bags or something, and we'll get it done.
Hey, Woody, that leads back to that time we decided we was gonna do some bags in San Diego.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we took on the challenge. We said, yeah, we'll do it. So we get
Well, Brother Lewis came through for me because he found the site. Because see, since I'm the
yeah.
regional director of social action, we don't do the project at the regional. You know they're gonna come after. But who's the I would have took that L. So he didn't want me to take the L.
Oh
So
man.
him and
not
I,
my brother, right?
we were able to put this project together and get emergency kits down so we can hand it out to the community in San Diego. But you know how our people are. Well, there was basically 3 of us that did the project. But when the national president got out, there were 30 brothers out. They were like, what are they doing?
We ain't gonna start no drama. We ain't gonna start. Had all the gear on, right? All the blue and white.
So him and I, just to make that point, we live this stuff. Yeah. We live social action. We're social action. It's like I said, it's the bedrock of our chapter. Moving forward, this is what we're known, and we're known across the country now.
Yeah.
Our international president, the Honorable Chris V. Reid, he could call us. If there's something going out here, he figure it needs to be done, he's calling us. Mm-hmm. He's going to make our international director of social action, another brother named 𝗪𝗏 Johnson, he's going to call me. Well, I know these brothers can get this done out here. We know that. So that's a great feeling for our chapter and the brothers in it, that they can call us and know we're going to get this done.
Putting in the work. True servants. Well, gentlemen, it was, like I said, I at first glance, I just ran past the website. I said, okay, well, let me ask. But when I did it,
we're glad you saw it.
Yeah, I was just so touched. I said, wow, this is like life coming full circle for me, because my first introduction on campus was Sigmas. And it was such a beautiful experience. And then to come back and circle back and see brothers now, we've all got grade and we still putting in the work. We still, in the community, because that's all that was embedded in my head. Even, freshman year at UCLA, I was like, that's what Sigmas do. They, they work, it's not about, yeah, we have a step show or something, but these brothers work. So, it's just a nice comeback full circle for me. And then to actually see, those names on your history, I just said, well, this is just, hey, they were talking to me. So they were sitting on my shoulders, because, it was many a days that they were looking out for us young folks, clueless and green on campus. So,
that's what they did.
Yes, they did. So I want to thank you, gentlemen, for the work that you were doing.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to come out and see if I can roll up my sleeves now that I know you're out there.
Absolutely, we love to have you out,
pass out. Yes.
Show you what's going on.
Yes, I live by my grandmother. We're from the South. My grandmother told me, when you close your eyes for the final time, this world should be a better place because you were here. Mm-hmm. So,
that's true.
I truly believe that. And so you gentlemen are just exude that in every aspect. So, I know you hear it often, but on behalf, from little old me, just thank you, gentlemen, so much for the work that you are doing. I did not know it was just such a small amount of hands, but hey, the hands are getting the work done. So, and these Sigma Betas, that club that you're raising, they're going to come back and be in Kappa Delta and continue to work. We're building the next generation of Kappa Delta.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, let me ask you my random question before I let you go. Let's see what we got. I try not to take up too much of your time, but y'all were special to me because y'all are close to home for me. So, I took up your night and I ain't gonna apologize for it. If you could have an all expenses paid trip, where would you go?
That's a great question right there.
Me personally, I would want to go to Africa.
There you go.
To see my roots.
There you go. No Wakanda though. Wakanda's not there, but we go to Africa. All right. Let's see if Mr. Bailey could get away from the.
See my roots.
Yeah, that's a great one right there, because that's motherland.
Yeah, we have to do during the week.
I almost want to say that as well, kind of, see Egypt and Sphinx and looking at those footsteps of some of those other pioneers that walked through there. Nigeria, I had a couple of co-workers that are from Nigeria. I've been at the, County of Los Angeles since 1991. They came in the same time I did, and they were misunderstood because they were brothers, but they wasn't American brother. So I used to always talk to them and stuff, and some of the stuff they had to do to get here, and you talk about some effort. So I would love to see, where they came from. Nigeria, they always talked about it, how, was trying to, come up. I said, I would love to see the country. Those guys used to go home for a month because it takes so long to travel there.
Yeah.
They just can't go 2 or 3 days and come back. And one of the co-workers used to pack an old suitcase with all kind of things to take to his family.
Yeah.
So I started helping him. I would give him a ton of stuff just to pack into the suitcase so he could take it to his family. So I think I'm some type of honorary
Nigerian
elder around there somewhere.
Right, all right. Well, gentlemen, what's the website? Give me the website real quick so we can connect with you, or the audience can connect with you. Do you have it on hand?
Let's see, our website.
If not, I'll go ahead and put it in the link later on.
Yeah, you can put it in the link. For some reason, it escapes my memory.
No worries. That's all right.
A lot of stuff going on up there, but yeah, they can go to our website, look at what we're doing. We got to update. We're going to put some updates on there, and look at what we're doing. There's also
donation links, right?
There's the Healing and Hope has one. It's Healing for Hope. Healing for Hope. It's the first one.
A couple of gray hairs starting to catch up with you.
The gray hair, and I always, and Brother Lewis will attest to this. I said I'm gonna have to start taking some privileging because he'll ask me something and I forgot about that. That's the first thing. I said I gotta start taking that stuff, man. Some stuff are flying out of there. There's so much stuff going on. He'll call me and say, "Well, wait a minute, when's that supposed to happen?" And he told me about it earlier, and I forgot it. Like, okay, bro, I got it.
I got you. All righty. Well, gentlemen, it has truly been a pleasure. I have enjoyed my time with you, and especially I am just so impressed with the little old crew just doing so. I can't get over that, but just let you know, just reaffirms it. Don't need much. You just need a heart to serve.
We appreciate you doing this, to interview, African Americans in the community working. So we appreciate you doing that moving forward. So, if you need anything from us, it's just email or call
just keep
away.
on doing what you're doing. Just keep on breaking the stereotypes, proving society wrong, that my brothers ain't, and just
we're gonna do that.
Just challenging in there. Just keep on doing you. That's all I ask. Just keep on.
Absolutely.
That's all right. Well, that is all for this week's episode of Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time. Oh.